Hi everyone, Nora Alwa here, somatic and social justice psychotherapist and educator, here to offer you resources during these extremely stressful and uncertain times. Did you know that a third of the world's population is in lockdown right now? Cannot go out of their homes, literally trapped. 2.6 billion people going crazy in their homes. As my wise friend Natalie would say, when we can't go out, go in. So this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how do we stay with ourselves? How do we not leave? And I don't just mean leave our house or go outside. I mean, how do we stay with ourselves when all the anxiety is flooding, when all the emotions, the numbness, the too muchness is there, the grief, the pain? How do we keep staying with ourselves? And so what happens when we start being inside and trapped? We start shooting ourselves. Sounds familiar? I woke up the other day feeling really grumpy. I was in a really bad mood because I had the biggest I should have hangover. No alcohol in my body, but hours of TV watching. Of course, I watched the news, watched the Danish news, got to see what happens in my home country, Denmark, what's happening in France, in the US. Then I watched one TV episode and another one and another one, and then you know where I'm going. And so, of course, watching moderate TV is totally okay until it's just not. And so what I want to talk about is this word that Bruce Perry, a trauma specialist and psychiatrist, talks about around dosing. And how do we make sure we regulate ourselves throughout the day? Because really that's my attempt. I'm trying to regulate myself. I'm trying to figure out what's happening outside. I'm trying to be like, okay, let me just rest a little bit. But when it's hours on end, it just doesn't help. But if there's little bits, it's like little bits of walking, little bits of breathing, little bits of watching, all of those things help. But we got to spread them out. Because of course, it can be wonderful to go for a walk for 1 hour, and movement is beautiful. But the thing is, right now, as we're so much inside, what is most helpful is for us to do little, like go for a walk 5 minutes, stretch for 5 minutes, dance, sing. All of those things throughout the day are really, really helpful because that helps our system. Because if not, we're just regulated for an hour, and we got 24 hours to take care of here. And so what I want to suggest, and some of you might have already done this, is how to create some structure in your day. And I don't mean like a sense of like rigid structure from 9 to 5. I mean something where you know how your day begins and how it ends, and having just an overall sense of blocks. Because that really helps, because we're so used to going our morning, going in our car, biking, and having a sense of routine. And we know that when our nervous system is with this level of unknown, we need to create some knowing. It's like the people who are not in lockdown right now. It might be harder for them, right? For you to actually figure out how to be. Versus for those of us who are in lockdown, I want you to think about what happened before and after. I know for myself, when there was a lockdown, I could relax a little bit. Even though it's hard, there's a way that my nervous system can be like, okay, because I know how to do this. Because we know that our nervous system prefers to know, even if it's a terrible situation, than not to know. So again, coming back to the structure, I know that every morning I wake up and I meditate. And at the end of the day, I practice gratitude with my spouse. And then sometime in the middle, I go for a walk and I do my work. And then I try to practice these dosing of regulation throughout the day. And I have it on a visual, something that just helps me see it, remind me, because it's hard. It's still so new. And so how might you do that? Find ways that things that are already working. What are things that are already working that you're doing right now? And write them down. You don't have to change those things. Just write them down. And just see the ways that you can support yourself. Because remember that the kindest things we can do to ourselves is to acknowledge where we're at. So right now, if you are needing to, you're on social media a certain amount of time, do that. But just try to make sure that you spread it. Try to make sure you know when you do it, so it's not right before you go to bed. So I'd love to hear how you are taking care of yourself. I'd love to hear how you are supporting yourself. Please leave comments below. If you want to know more about this, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my newsletter on noraalwa.com. That's ALWAH. I'll be back and I look forward to connecting with you. Take really good care. Bye.